All right, day three more days. Let's see, today's Saturday. I'm working on Saturday all day today, and then Sunday, and then on Monday I leave. So Saturday, no, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, tomorrow I have the day off. Sunday, Monday I leave for the States, and then on Tuesday the interview. So there's 3 days left. Count down. I wanted to talk about the topic of escape this morning as it relates to transitioning physically from one place to another in the course of life. Let me make sure I'm not covering the microphone like I was doing before. And I've moved across the landscape of life enough now to become familiar firsthand with the desire to leave, to shed a skin, so to speak, to metamorphose, is that the right way to say that, metamorphize, into something else via way of transitioning to a new location, which has that appeal. It's kind of like recreating yourself. You have a second chance. You go someplace new, start over with a new identity, a new name. I've even toyed in the past with the idea of you could actually start off with a new nickname if you wanted to, and become a different person, and in essence erase the unpleasant qualities and character of your own character, the unpleasant aspects of yourself, things that you don't like about yourself, and have a new chance. People that don't know you, they don't know your past, they don't know your failures and your mistakes and all that kind of stuff. And I know the appeal of that. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because in the face of a change such as the one that we're about to do, and just so for anyone who hasn't seen the videos in this series, the earlier ones, this is all about my family's potential move from Japan to the United States. I'll be flying over for a job interview, and if I can get that, we'll be transitioning. And I'm making these videos leading up to the interview for the job to capture the feelings and the thoughts that are going through my mind and the experiences that we're having along the way. And I wanted to do this ahead of the interview, not after the interview, because there's a quality in foresight that would be lost in hindsight. When there's one element of it when you're talking about it as a possibility versus something that is actually happening. And I didn't capture any of this stuff the last time we did it, and I wanted to kind of do it now. So I may end up with mud in my face if I don't get the job, but at least I have a record of the thoughts along the way. So let's continue. So I have another element. In addition to experiencing these types of this change several times in my life, and the experience of wanting or desiring to remake myself in a way, I've had the experience of being in Japan as a semi-public person on YouTube, to whom other people who are desirous of coming to Japan sometimes correspond with me and tell me about their feelings along the way. And I've worked out that there are kind of two categories of change that people are really after. And I would basically label those as realistic and unrealistic. To label it simply. Now, let's deal with the realistic changes. Now, start off simple. If you're, for example, the realistic things that are changes that the actual new circumstance can bring about by virtue of the difference between that circumstance and the one that you're currently in whatever country you're living. For example, Japan has an excellent healthcare system, socialized medicine. And if you're living in a place where medical care is expensive and ineffective or corrupt or just ineffectual at all levels, and you want to live in a country where medical care is cheap, good, comprehensive, and efficient, then come to Japan, for example, and you will realize that change. That change will actually happen. Another thing, if you're, for example, and I have a friend who lives here, who is an American woman of a very sensitive nature. She's very, very sensitive to the politeness and the niceties of life. And when people are rude or brash, she has a hard time dealing with that. And in her own country, my country, the United States, she had a hard time with that. Here in Japan, you can't get more polite than the Japanese. The way that they look after one another, they are sensitive to the feelings of others, and the way they measure and watch their words to be careful that they don't hurt others. is just the type of place for her. And she came here looking for that, and she found it, and she's very happy in that regard. Now, well, this could go on, with the most extreme example, of course, being someone that's living in a country where there may be persecution of a sort, perhaps political, religious, social, gender-based persecution, or bias, or strong bias, or whatever. And if you come to a country where it's less so, maybe you move to some Scandinavian country, for example, where you can enjoy a more liberal, free society, more tolerant society, then you're going to realize that dream. So these are the types of things that if you change your location, seeking after a tangible good, measured in your eyes as a good, you can actually find those things. So that would be the first case. And Japan is full of that kind of stuff. And I'll give my own example about going to the States. What we're looking for in that regard, we want to be in a place that has we've been in Japan for a long time. We want to be in a place that has a more liberal society, a more society more oriented towards the individual rather than the group. And of course, a lot of people are going to complain and say, yeah, it's too much in the individual on the American side, and perhaps that's the case. But we want to give Emily, our daughter, a bit of a balance in that regard. There are other reasons as well that we're seeking after this change. But let's move on to the second point, the things that you really are harder to get out of a move like this. Those tend to be the things that are within ourselves that are not a consequence of the surroundings, but instead, here comes the wind, but instead are a result of our character, our disposition, our own bias, and the choices that we have made and perhaps continue to make. And I get a lot of email from people who write to me telling me about things about that they're not, they'll use a general thing like, I'm not happy in life. And I want to come to Japan to be happier. And Japan probably isn't going to be the thing. It's not necessarily the country that's going to make you happy or not, but it's something else, some internal thing or some social thing. There may be some things about a particular country that will be more conducive to happiness, but it's not a solution in itself. And what you'll find, though, is if you've come, and this is usually the case in my experience, that there'll be a grace period and a honeymoon stage where you get over and all of your challenges are wiped clean for a period of time. But the things that need to be resolved through your internal efforts will probably remain on the table to show up again. I've always found that they are always there waiting for me wherever I go. So, in preparing, we have those two things, and I could probably go more on that, but maybe what I'll try to do is turn the guns on myself a little bit, okay? As I always like to try to illustrate such challenges and such points with my own examples, because it's the only case I know so well. Ooh, wow! Look at that Mount Fuji over there. Can you see it over the top of that car? Can you see it right there? You just see the tip. Beautiful morning dawn glow. Okay, so what kind of things am I now? I'll leave my wife and daughter out of it too. Although we are, I did mention just a moment ago we're doing this for Emily as well. But I'll leave that alone. Just talk about myself, for example, if you can bear with me for a second to do that. What will I seek out of this environment? What might I be tempted to want to try to gain in a change like this? I'm tempted to use the word escape, but I think I've reached the point now that I don't really see it that way anymore. Well, in terms of the first point, I want to be in an environment where I can escape my failure. I guess I will use the word escape. I can escape my failure with Japanese. I've been here 10 years. And my Japanese is really bad. You can see I'm getting all jittery and nervous. This is a very sensitive topic for me. I failed at learning the language, largely due to laziness, and I like to say that I just can't learn it, but I know that's a cop-out. I have failed at it, and it has been very difficult for me and very hard for me living in a country where I cannot communicate well, and especially where I have to have others help me. I cherish my independence and my ability to stand on my own 2 feet, and have to take my letters from work home to my wife, and I say that because that's kind of how it feels like sometimes. It's like, here, Mom, and I'm not a person who likes to do that. It hurts my pride. It hurts my I won't say my feelings. It hurts my pride, and my sense of independence to rely on others. And I know you're probably thinking, why wasn't that motivation enough for you to learn? And I just failed with it. So I failed at this. This is something that it's like that thing I said a couple of videos back about calculus. I tried a lot harder with calculus, but I just failed at it. By going back to the States, I'll be transitioning into an environment with my native language. I will be able to function. I will be able to read my own letters. I will be able to correspond with Emily's teacher and help handle problems like that, solve issues, be a functional member of my society. So that is an example of the case where I'm going to transition to actually gain a tangible, realizable good that will directly benefit my life and make my life better. And I think it will, by extension, make my family's life better, because my wife will, I'll be able to, be the man of the house, so to speak. Not the Archie Bunker type, but pulling my weight, doing my thing. That's important to me, and I think my daughter will respect me more as well, if she's able to see that Papa's not so helpless. So in a way, I guess the escape is a way, and it is running away. It's running away from my failure in a way, and I'm sorry if I use that to disproportionate amount if I'm causing my difficulty for my family as a result. But it's not the foremost reason that we're leaving, and it's frankly it's more of a side effect. I really do think I'm not allowing that to be the main thing. Almost 12 minutes already. I'll try to wrap this up. As to the other thing, the second thing about the and I'll be able to work better. Working. I've reached the glass ceiling. I've reached I shouldn't say glass ceiling. I've reached the ceiling of my capabilities and my limited language skills in terms of my earning potential here in Japan. By moving to the States, I will be starting, if I can get this job, I will be at a beginning salary, which is significantly more than I'm making now, and that's just the start. And then it goes up from there. And I've already reached the limit now. So this change will have a measurable, quantitatively definable improvement in my earning potential, which is another tangible, realistic thing. That's another in the first case there. Now, often the second one, what kind of things would I like to change that the change itself won't do? Well, my impatience, especially when reckless drivers, I get a little angry sometimes at people who are dangerous, really reckless with automobiles and the lives of others. That's not going to change by moving. Although I would like to think Well, I guess it's a good thing to be impatient, but sometimes I go a little over the edge. You guys would be surprised. Almost borders on road rage in a way, but I think sometimes it's justifiable. I just can't stand. It just drives me nuts when someone's driving 80 kilometers per hour in a school zone, or when they're driving, like I saw yesterday, a woman driving along with holding her baby in front of the steering wheel with no straps in at all. The airbag if she hit something, and she was totally distracted, and the baby was banging and hitting the horn. And I was thinking, what are you thinking? It drives me nuts, and I guess it's good that it does that. I don't expect to be happier in moving to Japan, except by extension of the things that I said earlier. That will be, but in terms of the problems that I have inside my head, the challenges that I face, which I do have, I will still have those, and I will still work to address those. Maybe 3 moves back, I would have thought that I would have been under the impression that some of those things might have changed by moving, but I no longer hold those illusions in my head. So I guess I kind of covered it, huh? I kind of covered it. There's this transition can offer change that is both real and can give you the fictional idea that you can change things that really need to be addressed otherwise. And it's a balance to try to find a way to recognize the one and the other, and then to be able to make the move and know what's going to be handled on its own, and what I'm going to have to keep on working on. And with that, I'm going to keep on working on getting to work. I have a full day of work today. Christmas pageant today. Last official duties of the year. And then I'll be done. And then work. And then tomorrow, it's time for a haircut and maybe get some clothes and get ready to go. Okay, talk to you then now. I hope you had a great day. 15 minutes almost. Sorry. Take care. Bye-bye. Woo.